Greetings, friends. I'm Dr. John Byron. I want to share with you a few thoughts about today. Now, today may seem like an average day to you. I mean, it's Thursday, May 29th. It's another day of the week for you to get through. It's one more day till Friday. It's a day after, a Thursday after having had a nice long 3-day weekend. So if you're like me and you make your way through this 4-day work week, your internal clock might be a little off. It's amazing how 4 days can seem very long in a short week. But it's not just any Thursday. This day, if you were to come to my area, you would notice that there is something a little off. You see, I live in an area where we have the second greatest concentration of Amish people. Around my area, there are a variety of Amish groups. It's not uncommon for me, even while I'm sitting here at my desk, to see and hear the buggies clopping down my street as they're going back and forth to wherever it is that they're going. If you came to my area today, however, and you wanted to buy some fruits or vegetables at a local farm stand, maybe you're looking for some Amish-made furniture, you would be out of luck. And that's because today is one of only a few days of the year that Amish and also Mennonite businesses are closed. Today, folks, is not just any day. Today is Ascension Day. Ascension Day is that day, it always falls on Thursday, that comes 40 days after Easter. The day when, according to the church calendar, we remember that Jesus ascended to heaven. Now, I'm sorry to say that most Protestants these days no longer celebrate this day. In fact, many of them won't even know that it exists. Now, some people will celebrate Pentecost. I know the church that I attend, we will celebrate that day as the giving of the Spirit and the birth of the church. And so this happens 10 days after the Ascension. So we will take some time to remember that. But the Ascension Day almost seems like a hiccup. In fact, when I was in Germany just a year ago, Lori and I had the opportunity to visit a church on Pentecost Sunday. And I was amazed at just how much the church in Germany still does to celebrate Pentecost. Interestingly enough, Ascension Day in Germany has now been paired with Father's Day, and my understanding is it's more of a day for drinking than it is about thinking about Jesus' ascension. But, the fact of the matter is most of us have left church on Easter Sunday. We're done with the service, and we really don't think anymore about what happens after the resurrection. Oh, okay, yes, we know that Jesus is in heaven, and we'll tell the kids and others that. But in a lot of ways, this is really nothing more than how we talk about the fact that Jesus is no longer here on earth. Jesus died, he was resurrected, he went to heaven. End of story. But actually, that's not the whole story, folks. Here's the thing. The Ascension is important. It completes the Easter story, and I would argue this, that without the Ascension, Easter is incomplete. I want you to think about that for just a moment. Without the Ascension, the story of Easter is incomplete. Here's why. The story of the incarnation, that is, the story that began at Christmas time with Advent, the idea of Jesus coming, becoming human, being born as a human, living and dying as a human being, it doesn't actually end with the resurrection. Yes, Easter, resurrection, very important, but it's not the end of the story. The capstone of all these events is the Ascension. As we see at the end of Luke's Gospel, and then again at the beginning of the book of Acts, Jesus ascends to heaven, and what's more, he doesn't just go to heaven and disappear, folks. He goes and he sits on the throne of God at the right hand of God. Think about this now. The Ascension, then, is not just about Jesus leaving earth. It's his enthronement as King and Lord of creation. As the ascended Lord who became human and defeated sin and death, Jesus now reigns as king, sitting on the throne of God. And here's another important point to all of this. Keep this in mind, folks. What that then helps us to remember is this: the incarnation is not over. The incarnation, that is Jesus becoming human, did not end with the resurrection, and it didn't end with the ascension when Jesus returned to heaven. Jesus is still human. He is still very much, as we as Christians believe, the God-man. Which means that as a human, Jesus sits with God on the throne as a human representative to God, there right next to God. Folks, the incarnation continues. Finally, the ascension is also important because we are reminded, as we see in Acts chapter 1, verse 11, that Jesus will someday return. The angels that speak to the disciples there in Acts say to them, "Why are you looking up? This same Jesus will return the same way that he left." So the ascension of Jesus and his seating on the throne then is actually not just the place where Jesus rules creation, but it also serves as the staging ground for Jesus' return one day. In other words, folks, the story is still not over. So I'd encourage you, take some time today, reflect on the ascension, and if perhaps you're preparing to preach or teach on this Sunday, maybe think about mentioning it a little bit as you are talking about why the ascension is so important. If you are part of a church where it is their tradition, as it is in mine, to be able to go and to read or to recite the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed, you will have opportunity there to mention and to confess our belief not only in the resurrection, but also the ascension, and then, of course, the one day Jesus will return. Include this. Talk about it. And let people know, as Paul Harvey used to say, that, well, folks, that's the rest of the story. I'm Dr. John Byron, and if you enjoy hearing my thoughts for the day, and you're interested about other things that I have to say or share, please do visit my website. You'll find it in the comments below at the end of this thread. Take care and have a good day. And by the way, go enjoy and celebrate Ascension Day.